guys, so I'm here with a different video than I normally do. I'm going to give you guys 10 tips on how to run a successful reselling business. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you stick around. I have been a full-time reseller for about 4 years now, and before that I did sell on eBay like forever ago when I was in high school, but I'm in my 40s now, so I have pretty good experience. My sister also resells on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. She does more of like hard goods and things like that, but all of these things could still apply no matter what kind of things that you sell. My brother also has been selling clothes on eBay since high school. He actually has done different kinds of things. He just did his own things with buying stuff from thrift stores, which is what he currently does, but for a while he worked like in a rag house and he would search for like vintage tees and stuff like that before it got super popular and oversaturated, like as far as so many people in the thrift store doing this. So our family has tons of experience in this, so I thought maybe I can share with you guys some tips of what has helped me be a successful reseller. So successful to me is I am a homeschool mom. I am able to use this money to pay for our family to go to Disney every year. We've been doing that the past 7 years. That's kind of actually what encouraged me or like got me to start doing this. I pay for my family's groceries every week, which if you buy groceries for your family, you know how expensive that is. I pay for my gas with this money. I pay for all of my kids' sports. Anytime we go out and do something fun, most of the time I'm paying for it with my reselling money. What else? Sometimes I buy my husband Chiefs football tickets. I use my reselling money. All of our Christmas presents, I use my reselling money. So there are so many things that you can do, even if it's just extra side money, or you can use this as a full-time job. So I just wanted to share with you what has worked for me, what I think are good, helpful tips. If you aren't subscribed yet, I typically do 3 videos a week, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up. We're going to go through my top 10 tips of how to run a successful reselling business. So the first one I have is start from items that you have at home. Now, I did not do this, but I would recommend everyone that is just starting to do this because you don't want to spend any money right away. I know that probably everyone has things at their house, whether it's things in your kitchen, things in your closet, from your kids' toys, that you can pick up and resell on all of these various platforms. So it's a really good idea. So just research your prices. I will talk about that in a little bit. Get your items listed and up for sale and start bringing in some money from stuff you already have at home. You can do Marketplace, you can do eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop. That's the main ones that I know of. There are a couple of other ones, but I don't think they're quite as popular. So yeah, that would be my first tip. Just look around your house. There's literally so many things. Like sometimes when I get really low in inventory, there was a time where I just literally went through my own closet and I'm just like, okay, I haven't worn this in a year, I'm gonna sell it. And the nice thing about eventually, if you start reselling a lot and your wardrobe starts becoming thrifted, which is what mine is, and some of the stuff, like, it's good quality. So it's like when I decide I'm done with it, it has value in it left still, and I can still resell it and make a profit. So that's really nice. Number 2, I would say to use now that money that you're making to start running your business. So make sure that you are not buying all of the equipment that you want right away, or you're going to be like in the negative for profit. So I currently have a Rollo printer. I have a laptop for my labels. I have a desk. I have 3 of these shoe rolling racks. I have a stand-up rack. I have a rolling rack for my clothes. I have a photo booth, a big stand-up walk-in photo booth. I have tons of shelves, tons of bins. I have more shoe racks that hang over railings. All of that information, I will say, is down below in my Amazon link. If you want to see all of the products that I use in my reselling business and you're interested, you can go ahead and click on that link and buy them for yourself. Also, anytime you want to shop on Amazon, you can use that link as well, and apparently I still get a kickback for that. So if that's a way that you want to support my business and support me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So yeah, don't use all of your profit right away to start buying stuff. Do that a little bit at a time, because in reality, when you first start reselling, all you need is your phone and the item, and that's it. I used to take pictures outside on the grass. I used to take pictures outside in the fence. If you are doing outdoor pictures, I did it in like a partial shade. Like it wasn't where it had any shadows, but it wasn't full sun. So it was like sunny during the day, but it was like a shady part of my fence. So You really don't need that much. And of course, also you need a way to print out your labels, but you can do that free at most libraries if you do not have it at home. You also can just print out a normal label and cut it out and tape it in the box. You don't need a label printer or anything like that. So don't use all of your money. I would suggest using the money that you're making to start buying new inventory at the thrift store. And that takes me to our next point, which is research every item that you find at the thrift store when you're first starting. Every single thing. Even if you're like, oh, Michael Kors, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. I'm going to get this shirt. And then you get it home and then you list it for $50 because you know it retailed for $200 and then it never sells. So I made this mistake. A lot of these tips I'm telling you is from mistakes that I made that I regret. So you need to look up every single item. So how you do that, I will try to put a little side by side. I usually look things up on eBay because I can see what they are currently selling for. They give you a 90-day like time frame, so you're knowing if it's selling like right now, or compared to Poshmark, you don't know when that item sold. So you can search your item. I would try to be not super specific, wow, but sometimes it is good to put certain things in because some things will sell better than others depending on things like fabric content and size. Also, brand is super important when you are selling. For me, I can't speak at anything for vintage sellers, so if you are a vintage seller, most of these tips will apply, but I don't know about brand for vintage. So you always want to put in the brand of what it is and then maybe like a basic description. So like I'm looking over here at a dress. It is a Bryn Walker black and white dress. So if I want to get specific, also a lot of Bryn Walker is linen. This one is cotton. So the linen is going to sell better than the cotton. So I would look up Bryn Walker dress cotton. Probably I might leave out black and white unless I'm starting to look for that specific brand. Once you type that in, it's going to show you how many are available. Look at that number down there on eBay and see how many are currently for sale. Then you can filter over on the right. You can like tick over these sold and completed items. Now it's going to filter items that have sold based on that search in the last 90 days. And you're going to take that number, divide those two numbers, and you're going to find your sell-through rate. So if there are 100 Bryn Walker dresses cotton for sale and there are 20 sold, that's not a very good sell-through rate. That means it's going to probably take a long time. You're going to have to price it cheaper than what they're currently selling for, possibly to sell it. So lots of factors kind of go into that. So I would say make sure you're always looking things up at the thrift store. That is so important. And you're going to want to see how much things are selling for based on how much that thrift store is charging you for that item. Because if they're charging $8 and it's selling for $12, obviously that's going to be a bad buy because you're going to have to take out fees. Different platforms have various fees. Poshmark, I think, is the highest with 20%. eBay, it depends because you can choose to promote your listings. So that means your listing is going to get pushed more to the top and get more views. So the fees can vary there as well. Mercari and Facebook Marketplace and Depop are pretty cheap. So just make sure you're researching everything, because that makes a huge difference. Even still for me today, if I don't take the time, because I know so many brands at this point, but there are still some items that I'm like, I shouldn't have got that, because I'll get home, list it, and get ready to research it, and then I'm like, crap, that wasn't worth it. But it's hard sometimes if you're in a rush, but you really need to make sure you take the time, especially in the beginning, to look everything up. If your thrift store accepts returns and you regret it, or you get home and find it out, go ahead and just return that item. Don't even bother wasting your time taking pictures and listing it and all of that if it's not even worth selling. The next thing I would say is when you're at the thrift store is to check for flaws. Again, something I still currently do, but I need to get better about it. It does take a little bit of extra time, so you can do it as you're picking up the items, or I would suggest doing it at the end, because if you get home and there's a stain, a big stain you didn't see, a hole, that's going to majorly decrease the value. Some higher end brands you can still make some profit on with that, such as like Smart Wool and Icebreaker. I sell shirts with holes all the time because it's usually a base layer for people and they don't care. But most items you really don't want to bring home flawed. So what I like to do when I do this regularly is I do it at the end. So I will take my cart over by a window at the thrift store because sometimes the lighting is just super bad. So I'll go over by a window and try to just look everything over again once really well. Usually when I take the time to do that, I'll find one or two things where I'm like, this is not worth it, because I'm gonna get home. If I try to stain treat it and it doesn't come out, it's not gonna be worth it. So check your items for flaws before you even leave the thrift store. Number 5, once you have your item home, you need to take quality pictures. So like I said before, all you need really is a phone. I still currently take pictures on my phone. I know that there are some resellers that use a camera. It's not as fast for me, and I don't know if I just haven't figured out the process or what, but I use my iPhone. You can literally just use your phone and then natural light. If you don't have a light system, whether it be box umbrella lights, a big, large walk-in photo booth like I have, you can go ahead and just go outside. So that is going to make a little bit of a difference because that limits your time of day that you can take pictures. But I would try to do it during the day, like I said. Actually, overcast can be really good, but you want to make sure that your pictures don't look different than they do in real life. So if you are taking a picture of a blue shirt and then it looks purple in your pictures, that's going to cause buyers to be confused. It's probably going to get you some returns, and you don't really want that. So if you can take it in natural light before you have lights, even when you do have lights, you've got to check and make sure that they match up the same. So natural light is really good. You can lay items on the ground, you can hang them on a fence, you can hang them on a side of your house with a hook. If you've got a window by a wall in your house, you can get a command hook and you can go ahead and hang them and take them right there. So really quality pictures, and then make sure that you're taking them in square mode. I know Poshmark requires this, but I take in square mode for everything. And don't leave space out from where your picture is. So you have a shirt, you want your picture to be like cut off. I will put some pictures, but you don't want to have a whole bunch of open space because people are going to be seeing this tiny little listing on their phone. So you want your item to stand out and not be like them looking at it and being like, what is this? I can't tell. So don't leave space. Make sure it's squared and centered. Make sure it's accurate color. Take pictures of all of the important things. You do not need to go crazy and get like 20 pictures per item. I do the front, the back, the size tag, the material tag, and then any interesting details. So if it is a shirt that has embroidery, I will get a close-up detail of the embroidery. If it's got floral, I might get a close-up picture of the print. Any interesting buttons, I might take pictures of those. But you really should be able to take your pictures fairly quickly. You do not need to spend a ton of time. Once you get the rhythm down of it, it'll go pretty quick. Also, when you are taking pictures, I do suggest doing measurements. I know not everybody does, so that's up for you to decide. I have a whiteboard and I have in permanent marker for shirts. I have like pit to pit, and then I have top to bottom, and then I use a dry erase and I will just measure it. I have a measuring tape like this. That was some scissors falling down. A sewing measuring tape I'll just keep around my neck, and I will measure across top to bottom because I do a hanging hook style with my clothes. I don't have a flat lay. So I'll go ahead and measure that. For pants, I do waist rise inseams. Sometimes people ask for hip measurements, so that's something you can decide. But I will just take it on the whiteboard, and then I take a picture of that, and that's one of my pictures in my listings. So I don't have to type that out every time, which does save me time, which is nice. I think I got that idea from Courtney at Common Tags. She also uses a whiteboard for her measurements. So I would say include measurements because you're probably going to get questions. And then if you don't answer the questions or you say I don't provide measurements, you might have a harder time selling your items because some people, like me, need measurements for things. I am 5'11", and so when I buy pants or jeans, I have to know what the inseam is because my legs are so ridiculously long that if I don't get the right inseam, they're going to be too short and look stupid, and then I'm going to have to file a return. And I really don't like to return items. Next up for your listing, number 6, is make sure you're using good titles and keywords. So I have found out from a couple of different people, and it's been working good for me, of the proper title structure. So I go ahead and put in the brand first. The brand is the most important thing for most items that you resell. So let's take an item here, right here, and do this. So this is a pair of Doc Marten boots. So I would put Doc Marten and then what it is, boots, Doc Marten boots. Next, I will put the gender, women's, or men's if you have men's. Then I will put the size, these are a size 7. Then I will put the color, these are black. So if you had the Bryn Walker dress, for example, I would put in Bryn Walker dress, women's, extra small, black, white. After that, you're going to use any keywords that you want to. So for these, I would put leather, I would possibly put buckle, I would put goth, punk, maybe Y2K. So any kind of keywords. Now, to find the good keywords, you can do a simple Google search. I think Vendu, even if you don't subscribe to their service, they have a page of trending keywords, and you want to use those because that's what people are searching for. So you want to think when you're making your title of what are people searching for. If you put in pointless things, like people might not be searching for that. So like people aren't probably going to be searching for a cute dress, or they're not going to be searching for a fabulous shirt. So I see some people trying to use all of these adjectives in your title, but that's not how people search. You need to title your item based on how people are typing in the search, because that's how your item's going to pop up, not what you think or how you want to describe it. You have to type it in based on what your customer is searching for. So make sure you're looking that up. You can do a little bit of research. How I learned a lot too is by watching tons of YouTube videos, and you can go ahead and learn keywords from all of the other people that are experienced resellers. So use those keywords in your title once you put those main things in. And I think they only are going to be up in search in the title. You can do stuff in your description, but mostly it's going to pull up stuff in the search that's in the title. My next tip, number 7, is to fill in all item specifics. So I know on eBay, this can be a huge pain, but once you get the habit of doing this, it's going to go very quickly. And on eBay, I take all of my pictures on my phone, and then I will either start my draft on my phone, or I will airdrop all of my photos to my computer, and then I list on my computer. Because on eBay is where I list first, and then I cross list. You can make a template for your description. So I have the same basic description for everything. For sale, I have a Nike shirt. It is a women's size medium. It's in good condition with no stains or holes. What else do I say? I don't even know. I'd have to look. I put the size. They are a size 7. I ship daily, so you're going to get your items fast. And then if you have a return policy, you can put that. You do not need to use all these crazy, crazy descriptions, because guess what? Buyers don't read stuff very often. They barely even look at all the pictures, because I'll have all of the time. What are the measurements? And it's literally like my 3rd picture. So do not bother wasting your time writing an individual description for every single item. I would suggest making a template, and then you just take that out. So if I'm listing a pair of Hoka shoes next, I'm going to just take out Nike and I'm going to put in Hoka. Change the size, a couple things, and everything else is good to go. It makes it very quick, which is what you want when you're doing your listings. The other item specifics, after I put in that whole title on eBay, it'll pop up a little box where you can like check mark, or you can just push select all of based on your title, some of those item specifics. So that makes it faster as well. And then you just go down the list and pick. Get the size, get the color, get the material. If it's pants, check the inseam, get the occasion. I'll go through maybe a listing with you and show kind of how I do on a basic listing. Once you do it a lot, you kind of just get muscle memory of where things are, you know where they are, and it's not really that long of a process. So make sure that you're filling all of those in, because that does help your item sell better. Next, number 8, I would say research your prices. So when you are listing your item, if you already did research in the store, that's great, because you know what it's selling for. You can either try to remember that, or you can write it down, or if you're like me, you might forget, then you have to look it up again at home. Hopefully you can do something at the store, that way you don't have to do the research and take that time again. So I would say do not overprice your items. There are so many people that don't sell very good because they are overpricing their items. They are pricing them way higher. I'm not just talking like $5 to $10, like way higher than they're worth based on comps. Your item is worth what people will buy it for. So when you look on eBay on those comps, if it's 35, 30, 35, 20, 25, and you price your item at 60, it's not going to sell, because it's not worth that. No matter how much you think it's worth that, no matter how pretty you think it is, or how much it retailed for, it is only worth what people are willing to pay. So make sure you do your research. I usually price mine maybe $5 higher than the average. So I will take the average of quite a few of the listings, price it just a little bit higher, because I do send out like 15, 20% offers, and leave it at that. So that is a huge problem that most resellers run into, and why most people complain of making no sales, because they price their items way too high. So do your research and price at or a little tiny bit above market value. If you want to sell it faster, price it at market value and sell it a little cheaper, or sell it a little cheaper than what it's selling for. And your item should sell fast, especially if you see other people have it listed at 50, 50, 50, 60, 70, and you price yours at $40. Yours is probably going to sell way faster than theirs if it's the same item, because people obviously are going to want a better deal. Number 9, I would say take the time to answer questions. I know this is annoying because most of the time you have all of the information that you need in your listing, and there are buyers that don't read it, but customer service is important. You want to build a community. You want to build a customer base of people who come back and buy from you again. So you need to have good customer service. Just think if you were working, I was going to say shopping, if you were working in a store and someone came up to you and say, hey, what's the inseam of these jeans? And you just walked away from them and ignored them.
How rude.
Like, that's pretty rude. So answer your customers' questions and answer them as quickly as possible. You don't want to have to live on your phone, but maybe make a time of day each day, if you don't check it regularly, to answer all of your customer service questions, maybe in the morning or at the end of the night. This does make a difference, and you will make more sales if you answer people's questions. I've had times before where I have answered questions and then they immediately bought the item. So do your best. You need to not take things personally, because people are going to say dumb things. They're going to ask weird questions, or they're going to be kind of mean. This is not personal, and you don't need to take it personally. It's a business, and so you're just running a business. You don't need to be personally attached to your shoes that you loved for 5 years, or this sweater that you think is so pretty and worth so much at the thrift store. Like, it doesn't matter. You're just running a business and trying to flip this item to get money to buy another item. Like, you don't need to be like emotionally attached to your items. So make sure that you're not thinking anything stupid. Answer your questions, move on with your life. Don't dwell on it. Don't be rude in the way that you answer questions. Be professional. And then the last tip, I would say, number 10, is to ship quickly and to package nicely. So by packaging nicely, you can literally do what I do. Wow. Again, all this information is down below. I use these twist tie bread bags. I get these from Walmart. So it's 100 bags, and these are like $3 or $4, I think. And I use those. I put my items in there with a thank you sticker that I get off Amazon, and then I put it either in this tie back envelope for Poshmark, or I use boxes if it's bigger. On eBay, I do have a separate white just poly mailer, or you can get printed poly mailers, and you can get those off of Amazon or different shipping websites. Things that are under a pound, because you can't use priority if things are under a pound on eBay. So I do that. For my bigger items that don't fit in these bread bags, I have bigger bags. Those are linked in my store, like sweaters, jeans, coats, and things like that. But I do not write thank you letters. I don't have thank you cards. I don't do extra wrapping with tissue paper. Like, unless it's something breakable or like a really expensive pair of like shoes, I might do a little bit different. But for most items, it's very, very basic. And I have comments all the time. Thank you for the nice packaging. So I also would suggest shipping every single day. Make a routine or a schedule for yourself that you ship every day. People want their items fast. They're used to Amazon next day shipping. And if we can provide the same thing, I think it's going to be really good for our customers. So I do have that in my description that I ship every day. Every once in a while I might miss if we are like out of town or something, but otherwise I do communicate that with my buyers. But for me, it's just a routine. Every morning I get up, I will do my workout, I will do my devotion, I will eat my breakfast, take a shower, and then I go do shipping. It's just the start of my day for my business. So every once in a while, if I have something going on out of the normal, like Monday, we're going to the pumpkin patch, I still need to make sure that I'm waking up in time, because I know that that is just the way I run my business. I ship items out every single day. I would suggest that you do that. You don't have to, but I think it provides a good customer experience. And like I said, you want customers coming back to your store to buy from you again. So those are my 10 tips, guys. Let me know down below if you have any questions. I am always happy to help people. That's why I made my YouTube channel. That's why I have my business Instagram. That's why I have TikTok. That's why I do YouTube Shorts, because I want to help you guys with your reselling business, because I have so much success with mine, and I'm just so grateful that I can do this job and not have a boss. It's basically the best job in the world. If you are a current reseller and you have other tips that I didn't mention, put those down in the comments also, because we can learn from each other in the comments. I'm sure that I missed some things, or maybe I said some things that you don't agree with, and that's okay too. I like to have conversations in the comments, and I don't get offended. So it's okay if you don't agree with me. All right, guys, I will see you next week for a video. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Next week is going to be kind of crazy. We are out of town from Wednesday night to Saturday for a nationals tournament in Kansas City, I think, close to that. I think it's in Lawrence, Kansas. So I don't know what my schedule is going to look like next week. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.